Hello, and welcome to the UU Mental Health Network workshop, Addressing Distress and Isolation Through Companionship and Faith. I'm the Reverend Barbara Myers. I'm the president of the board of the UU Mental Health Network. In our work, we have found that congregations and people want to be helpful to people with mental health challenges and their families, but are unsure about what specifically they can do and how to handle problems related to mental health that they may have. This workshop is designed to give some answers by highlighting two major resources in addition to giving you some information. The first we will talk about is the abundant interfaith resources provided by the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It's called NAMI FaithNet. Its purpose is to encourage faith communities to become welcoming and supportive of persons and families living with mental health challenges. And second, we highlight a program called the Companionship movement offered by the interfaith mental health organization Pathways to Promise. This program teaches people how they can become companions to people who are struggling by offering encouragement of 5 basic spiritual practices: hospitality, neighboring, journeying side by side, listening, and accompaniment. I'm confident that you'll find these resources offer ideas and motivation to be helpful to people with mental health struggles in their families. I'm going to be talking about the UU Mental Health Network. This is what our website looks like, uumentalhealth.org, where you can find out more information. So I'll be telling you about who we are, mission, vision, how you can get involved, what kind of projects we're working on, and so forth. In 2018, there were several Unitarian Universalists who were interested in mental health, started meeting, and jointly we decided that the time was right to form a UU Mental Health Network to work collectively on mental health challenges that affect our congregations and society at large. Today we have a board of 7 people, of which I am the president, 4 officers, and 3 at-large members. Our mission is to empower the beloved community in honoring everyone's unique mental health journey towards wellness. We envision a world where everyone, all the members in the beloved community, feel welcomed, understood, and held in love, engage in respectful curiosity to understand emotional distress, welcome open, authentic, and fearless sharing about mental health, and passionately commit to mental health justice. We've decided to focus our efforts in 4 areas: education, worship, support groups, and social justice. So I'll talk about each of those briefly. In the area of education, we offer quarterly Becoming a Companion workshops where people can learn how to be helpful companions to those who have mental health struggles. We will offer a Mental Health 101 training that's developed by one of our board members who's a therapist. We'll have a quarterly online book club and resources on our website, which are pretty voluminous at this point. We also have published 2 books, Held, which is published by Skinner House Books, and Emotional CPR, which is published by the National Empowerment Center. In the area of worship, we provide an online worship service for Mental Health Awareness Month in May. We provide worship resources on the UUA's worship web, and we will add to those as time goes on. And we have a repository of mental health sermons that can be accessed from our website. In the area of support groups, there is a grief support group that's led by a therapist, and we have plans to add additional support groups for marginalized populations. In the area of social justice work, there is so much to do, and we plan to be effective advocates for mental health services. And we have been collaborating with the Worthy Now effort of the Church of the Larger Fellowship to help incarcerated people with mental health challenges. Much more can be done in the area of social justice, of course. We have ongoing needs that the board needs assistance with to help address. I need more work to increase mental health awareness and reduce stigma. We need more work on making the UU Mental Health Network more well known by marketing, publicity, soliciting volunteer involvement in all of these activities. The UU Mental Health Network is largely funded by private donations. Your donations can enable us to continue to provide these services, so please donate generously. Your donations today will support our work. Our board cannot do all these things alone, as I've said, so we need help from committed and motivated people. You can help us by joining the UU Mental Health Network at uumentalhealth.org/join. There you can tell us which of these 4 areas that you'd like to work on, and which project that you'd like to work on. If you'd like to reach out to us, our email is uumentalhealth.org. So thank you for your interest and support of our organization.
Hello, everyone. I'm Skylar Malin. My pronouns are they and them. I am the secretary of the Unitarian Universalist Mental Health Network Board and a NAMI Snow Isle volunteer. I'm here to introduce you to the NAMI FaithNet program. NAMI FaithNet strives to encourage welcoming, caring congregations, as well as to promote the vital role of spirituality in the recovery journeys of many who live with mental health conditions. In this presentation, Bridges of Hope, you'll learn about 2 strong bridges that have helped many people and families navigate their experiences living with mental health conditions: faith communities and NAMI. FaithNet presentations explore these 3 questions. What is mental health? Why are faith and spirituality important for people affected by mental health conditions? What can you do to help? If we recognize mental health conditions and the significant problems they pose for people, then we can be helpful. But many congregations don't know how to help, perhaps due to fear or lack of knowledge. So we want you to understand how NAMI can provide another bridge to strong advocacy, education, and support programs. Mental health affects everyone. Nearly 60 million Americans are affected by mental illness each year. NAMI provides unique support, encouragement, education, and advocacy that can only be provided by people with similar lived experience. NAMI is a vital community that helps others in their journey. Mental health is not only a social issue, but a public health issue. 50% of all lifetime cases of mental illness begin by age 14 and 75% by age 24. So these are conditions of youth that for many continue through their lifetime. Early identification and intervention are key, and the tragic outcomes of failing to intervene with treatment and support are dire. Suicide is now the 2nd leading cause of death in youth age 14 to 24. So whatever we've been doing, there is a real sense that it has simply not been enough. We all must join this movement to help ourselves and one another. We must work together to save lives, to save our youth. The normal personality and behavior changes of adolescents may mimic or mask symptoms of a mental health condition. Early engagement and support are crucial to improving outcomes and increasing the promise of recovery. Many individuals and families do not recognize the early signs of unusual behavior, thoughts, or moods as a treatable health condition. So if the mental health condition goes untreated, it can sometimes sweep away the person's ability to live a healthy, everyday life. So what is mental health? First and foremost, mental health conditions are medical conditions that can disrupt a person's thinking, mood, and ability to relate to others and perform daily functions. Just as diabetes is a disorder of the pancreas, mental illness can result in diminished capacity for coping with the ordinary demands of life. Severe mental health conditions include major depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, panic disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and borderline personality disorder. They can affect persons of any age, race, religion, or income. They are not the result of personal weakness, lack of character, or poor upbringing. Genetics, environment, and lifestyle all play a role in mental illness. The causes of mental illness are many, and there is still much to be learned about them. What we do know is that they are common and serious. A mental illness is a condition that affects a person's thinking, feeling, or mood. Such conditions may affect someone's ability to relate to others and function daily. Each person will have different experiences, even people with the same diagnosis. Depression and anxiety are among the most common mental health conditions. Depression is more than just feeling sad or going through a rough patch. It's a serious mental health condition that requires understanding, treatment, and a good recovery plan. Many people get better with early detection, diagnoses, and a treatment plan consisting of medication, psychotherapy, and lifestyle choices. But left untreated, depression can be devastating, both for the people who have it and for their families. Some people have only one episode in a lifetime, but for most people, depression recurs. Without treatment, episodes may last a few months to several years. People with severe depression can feel so hopeless that they become a risk for suicide. Bipolar disorder is a chronic mental illness that causes dramatic shifts in a person's mood, energy, and ability to think clearly. People with bipolar disorder have high and low moods known as mania and depression, which differ from the typical ups and downs most people experience. If left untreated, the symptoms usually get worse. However, with a strong lifestyle that includes self-management and a good treatment plan, many people live well with the condition. Schizophrenia is a severe mental illness that interferes with a person's ability to think, manage emotions, make decisions, and relate to others. It's a complex, long-term medical illness affecting about 1% of Americans. Although schizophrenia can occur at any age, the average age of onset tends to be in the late teens to early 20s for men and the late 20s to early 30s for women. It is possible to live well with schizophrenia. You can learn more about these and other mental health conditions by watching short information videos and by visiting NAMI.org. We often think the worst of mental illness because that is something all we have seen, all that we know we have witnessed, people in the worst of their struggles. The most important thing to remember about mental illness is they are common, it's no one's fault, treatment and support are essential for the promise of recovery, and people affected by mental health conditions and their families need help and hope. One of the easiest things we can do to help is to be mindful of our language and how we talk to ourselves and others about their struggles. Let's look at these two cartoons. Is this how we would speak to someone recovering from another significant health challenge? I don't think so. And yet this is how we may approach someone with a mental illness, likely because we don't understand. And how we relate to others in their health struggles with mental illness is essential. We can be more compassionate and understanding and take those first steps to pause and consider before we speak or pass judgment. I imagine we can all agree that everyone experiences wide ranges of sadness and happiness, elation and sorrow throughout their life. Mental and emotional swings are just part of being human. Mental health conditions are more than this. So how do we know when we or someone we know might be experiencing a mental health condition that may need intervention and treatment? Well, here's a partial list. Excessive worry or fear, excessively sad, confused and problems concentrating, extreme moods, irritability or anger, avoiding social activities, difficulty perceiving reality, substance abuse, physical ailments without a cause, or thinking about suicide. Though we shouldn't try to diagnose anyone, knowing some red flags to watch for is helpful. Learning more about the warning signs and what to do if you are concerned is also essential. I encourage you to learn more by visiting NAMI.org. So despite all you have heard so far, the best news that I have to share is that there is hope for people living with mental health conditions. Every year, people overcome their challenges and can resume their life path, work, school, and relationships. Everyone responds differently to various treatment options, but for about 75% of people with depression, schizophrenia, anxiety conditions, and bipolar disorder, treatment works to help alleviate symptoms and encourage wellness. Treatment is very personal and choices are many, including primary health care for integrated care and a referral for a good evaluation, talk therapy, medication, supportive services, peer support, education about the condition, and of course, healthy eating, lifestyle, and other health interventions too. And in this, faith communities have a role to play. Mental illness can, for some, cause feelings of spiritual isolation and estrangement. Some people and their families caught in the turmoil often surrounding mental illness can feel lonely. Community can help. For many, a spiritual community is a lifeline. Just as in the case of other severe health conditions, having a mental health condition may pose challenges to our faith. Amid this turmoil, we may wonder where we belong. For some, a mental illness can test our faith and may profoundly impact our spiritual journeys. A deeper level of spiritual support and care is often overlooked after a person's basic physical and medical needs are met. The gift of presence requires that we avoid doing what they can for themselves, or giving advice, or pushing our agenda. As we listen and share the journey, we ask honest, open questions to help them share their goals and what they need and want. Because of the fear and stereotypes often associated with the stigma of mental illness, people and their families caught in the turmoil are usually the loneliest and most estranged members of our community. Our faith community is in a unique position to help. Let's look at some factors that give faith communities the edge and the opportunity to be supportive and helpful. Many turn to their faith communities in a healing crisis. Churches, temples, and other faith communities are often more noticeable and accessible. Faith communities are seen by most as a safe space. The good news is that NAMI is here to help. As part of our effort to help build a mental health movement, we have launched a campaign called Stigma Free. We encourage people to take the pledge and be part of the change to hope, to learn about mental health, see the person, not the condition, and to take action. Learn more about Stigma Free and how easy it is to stand with us by visiting NAMI.org/Stigma Free, which includes resources that can be helpful in your faith community efforts. In addition to pledging to be stigma-free, we may recognize that there is, in fact, an intersection between the movement and our mission as a faith community. Congregations provide a place to belong and experience hope. We can help others on their journeys by learning more about mental illness. We can be someone who will walk across the bridge to be a friend for individuals who may be struggling and for their families, too. In addition to being mindful of our judgments and not saying things that may be hurtful, we can use person-first language like this. Instead of saying she is bipolar or he is schizophrenic, we can say she has bipolar disorder or he lives with schizophrenia. Putting the person first helps them feel like a person, not their illness. Instead of saying the mentally ill, we can say struggles with mental illness or struggles with their mental health condition. This way, the person senses your belief that they can get better and are not limited. And instead of saying commit suicide, we say die by suicide. Commit is a word most often used when referencing crime or sin, and losing a struggle with mental illness is in fact not a crime. And for the families and loved ones who survived this tragic loss, it acknowledges this loss respectfully and lets them know they have experienced a death and deserve comfort and understanding. Avoiding labels is easier than it may seem. Just think about it and pay attention. Words like crazy, loony, suffer, not normal, and other judgments can be hurtful. And what we want is to be helpful and caring. Another easy step is to reach out to the individual or family. Ease into the conversation gradually. It may be that the person is not ready to talk, and that's okay. Everyone is different and their timing is different too. Greeting them and extending a gentle kindness can go a long way. Offer your support. Ask, how can I help? Offer to connect them to helpful resources. In addition to reaching out, we can look at how to take the first steps to ensure our faith community is welcoming. Remember, people with a mental illness are people first. Check in with them or their family. Ask what would be helpful. Sit with them at church services and events. Talk with them and show you care. Invite them to join your small group. Plan a home visit. Learn about mental health. Convey acceptance and compassion. I have shared some easy, simple things for us to think about. Some other faith communities have also embraced this effort. One example is the Saddleback Church in Orange County, California. I will share some highlights of their suggestions and excellent resources for faith communities. It's divided into 3 stages for those who want to crawl and those who wish to walk, and finally more intensive suggestions for those who may decide to run. Crawling steps do not require money, training, resources, or paid staff. They are beginner steps, and all organizations can implement them. Here are some suggestions for crawling. Talk about mental health in sermons. Survey the congregation. Provide a list of local mental health resources. Educate and raise awareness. Have guest speakers. Provide space for support groups. Provide encouraging connections. Provide meals. Befriend someone with a mental health condition. And provide encouraging connections. You can learn more at hopeformentalhealth.com. This link and other resources are on NAMI FaithNet's page, nami.org/FaithNet. Walk steps require some training and minimal financial support. They need greater commitment, but most organizations can take them. For faith communities deciding to step up their game, here are some suggestions for walking. Have mental health speakers, start a mental health ministry, provide adult and youth support groups, create care teams for basic needs, train companion volunteers, provide volunteer opportunities, facilitate connection between people with similar experiences, gather books and resources, and have educational meetings. The third stage of suggestions, running, would require a higher level of commitment, more extensive training, financial support, and trained staff. Some examples of things you can do if you choose to run are develop a lay counseling resource or ministry, provide support groups for children, provide a safe space or clubhouse, provide advanced training for staff, create care teams for the mental health needs, partner with mental health organizations to triage mental health services, hold an event or conference, build a team of companion volunteers, and be a model and source of information. Again, you can find links to these suggestions and more by visiting the NAMI website. So now that we've talked about mental health conditions and how to help people and families affected by mental illness, I want to tell you more about NAMI, who we are, what we do, and what is available in our community through NAMI affiliates. NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, is the largest grassroots mental health organization in the country. Founded in 1979, we are a national organization, a state organization, and nearly 900 local NAMI affiliates in communities nationwide. NAMI's mission is to improve the lives of those affected by mental illness. We educate. Offered in thousands of communities nationwide through NAMI affiliates, our education programs ensure hundreds of thousands of families, individuals, and educators get the support and information they need. We advocate. NAMI shapes national public policy for people living with mental health conditions and their families and provides grassroots volunteers with the tools and resources necessary to ensure that people have access to life-saving care. We listen. We provide support through our no-cost, peer-led support groups, which trained volunteer facilitators offer with a unique perspective that only those with lived experience as individuals or families can offer. Our national toll-free helpline allows us to respond personally to more than 50,000 requests each year, and our online discussion groups and social media communities are vital safe spaces for thousands more. We lead. Public awareness events and activities, including May Mental Health Month, Mental Illness Awareness Week, and NAMI Walks, successfully combat stigma and encourage understanding. I am a member of the NAMI affiliate Snohomish and Island Counties, NAMI Snow Isle. You have the opportunity to help raise awareness that mental illness is not the result of personal weakness or lack of character. Knowing the facts about mental health conditions can help inspire others and make harmful stigmatizing stereotypes a thing of the past. We must learn, see, and act to build the mental health movement. We can, as a faith community, raise awareness to help ensure we are a welcoming, caring congregation for those in need. We can stand together and take steps, small or large. We all must be reminded of something First Lady Rosalind Carter said. You can make a difference. People with mental health challenges are our neighbors. They are members of our congregations, members of our families. They are everywhere in this country. If we ignore their cries for help, we will continue to participate in the anguish from which those cries for help come. A problem of this magnitude will not go away on its own. Because it will not just go away, and because of our spiritual commitments, we are compelled to take action. NAMI FaithNet is not a program, but a clearinghouse of information and a grassroots initiative to help encourage supportive faith communities and promote faith as a component of recovery for those who choose it. So we may ask ourselves now, what is your community already doing to provide a bridge of hope for people touched by mental illness? What would you like to see it do? We don't have to have this figured out alone. In addition to ideas, tools, and information, as well as other groups' resource links right at your fingertips, there are blogs, essays, and articles on how other congregations have dealt with challenging issues. I encourage you to check it out. You can request a FaithNet presentation from your local NAMI affiliate. To find the affiliate closest to you, go to nami.org/local. Thank you.
Hello, friends at the Unitarian Universalist General Assembly. My name is Mark Stevenson. I'm the Interim Executive Director of Pathways to Promise, a national trainer in companionship and board president. I'm delighted to spend just a couple of minutes with you to introduce you to Pathways to Promise. You are about to embark on an adventure in learning companionship, a way of presence with people experiencing isolation and distress. Pathways to Promise is the parent organization of Companionship. And I'd like to say just a little bit to you at this time about Pathways to Promise. We began in 1988, and our purpose, our mission is to equip faith communities and other organizations with safe, inclusive mental health support for healing and wellness. Why is that important? Because there's a crisis. There's not enough helpers. 5 of 10 Americans will experience loneliness and a mental health disorder within our lifetimes. And there's no basic level of support. 5 of 10 adults did not receive the mental health treatment that they needed, partly because there's an access due to barriers. 6 of 10 adults live in areas with a shortage of mental health services, and that's both in rural areas and urban areas. So our approach from Pathways to Promise, at least in part, is to provide more non-professional helpers. We recruit and equip faith and community-based neighborhood volunteers as companions. We educate and equip companions in basic and practical ways to support anyone, anywhere in the community. And caring people receive companionship training to support people experiencing isolation and distress in their communities. So this is a community accessibility matter. So how can you help? Well, thank you so much for taking part in this workshop about companionship. This will give you an excellent overview of what companionship is about. To take the full workshop, we encourage you to go to www.pathways2promise.org and look for companionship trainings. Thank you again so much for joining us. We appreciate that. And I hope and pray that all goes well for your time in this workshop and at General Assembly.
Hello, I'm here to introduce you to the Pathways to Promise Companionship program. The Become a Companion workshop teaches how to develop a public relationship with a person in isolation or distress. It originates from the belief in the mutuality in the relationship between two people. The principles of companionship are: companionship is a basic human relationship between two equals. It's a response to isolation and distress. It's not about fixing. It recognizes our need for relationship and community involvement. It's a public relationship and it aims for mutuality. Companionship fosters a period-limited, healing, human care relational connection with a person in distress to publicly support their recovery and wellness. Companionship supports wellness and recovery. The goal is to help others recover. It provides a public, socially supportive relationship that's foundational for recovery. Although there are similarities, each person's journey to recovery is unique. We travel with them in their distress. We listen for and hold hope, help them find their place in the community, and journey together as equals. Companionship involves the broader community for support. It underscores the importance of community involvement, recognizing that sustaining support often requires a collective effort from many individuals. The overarching goal of the companionship program goes beyond facilitating healing and recovery. It aims to facilitate individuals' restoration to community, fostering a sense of belonging. The relational connection is characterized by the companion's human care qualities of humility, understanding, mercy, agency, and nurture, which assist the companion in connecting with a person in distress. Distress can socially disconnect us from others, isolating individuals from crucial support, worsening mental health issues, and hindering recovery. 6 common sources of distress are mental health challenges, substance use disorder, poor physical health, trauma, social determinants, and loss and grief. The companionship model is a healing relational connection tool to support people in distress. The companionship relationship evolves through awareness, connection, partnerships, companionship and community expansion, and mutuality with a circle of care. Companionship's goal is to reach a growing mutuality to support another person in building a circle of care and support and an emerging sense of self. 5 markers of mutuality are trust and authenticity, personal responsibility, a circle of care, community, and connection. The 5 practices of companionship help to build trust, support a person in creating a circle of care, and move over time into an increasingly mutual relationship. Here are the 5 practices. Hospitality. Creating a safe, trusted space by welcoming, respecting, and sharing, and believing in the person's worth and dignity. Neighboring. Meeting and treating people on the common ground of our shared humanity. Side by side. Mutually journeying together. Listening. hearing a soul story with heart, ear, and eye, attention, and respect. Accompaniment, helping the person develop capacities and strengths, locate resources, and build a circle of care. We practice these with the people we companion with without any strings attached. The practices create the foundation of empathy, respect, and support, building trust and fostering a mutual relationship. The practices complement and support each other. They compose a way of life. With each practice, a thread of connection is formed. Together over time, these practices develop an ever-rich fabric of human connection between two people. The 5 practices are small efforts that combine to build trust and support in creating an equal and mutual relationship that leads to identifying a circle of care. The practice of hospitality approaches with respect, honoring the dignity inherent in every human being, creates a peaceful space, and shares calm, rest, and refreshment. We seek to establish a space that is sacred in the personal sense. Neighboring invites us to discover what we have in common, sets aside our power and privilege, and meets one another as equals. Because the soul thrives not in isolation, but in community. Side by side positions us to look out at the world together, acknowledge our different backgrounds and viewpoints, proceed with integrity, and not pushing, pulling, or imposing our own priorities. The aim is not to fix things, it's simply to be together, to be present, a way of sharing the world together. Listening opens us to another story. Hearing the person's own account helps us begin in the now and allows us to gently explore the past and future. It's an incredible gift to listen. Accompaniment listens especially for what the person says is their need, supports the individual in connecting with community resources, and helps build a circle of care. It's an act of faith, an outward sign of our belief that we are never alone. The process of accompaniment is to build trust, identify needs, identify resources, connect with resources, and transfer trust. The purpose of the Become a Companion workshop is to present you with the companionship model to integrate into your spiritual, personal, or professional life as a healing relational connection tool to provide support to people experiencing mental health or other challenges. You can register for our Become a Companion workshop on the UU Mental Health Network's website at uumentalhealth.org. Click on Training in the menu. Click on the Companionship Flyer button for more information about the practice. This is the Companionship Flyer. Click on the Register Here button to register for the class. I hope to see you in our next Become a Companion workshop.